Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sudevaya. So reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is chapter 3, text 44. 43, I mean. This is Karma Yoga. Evam buddhe param buddha. Evam buddhe param buddha. Samstabhayatmanam atmanaha. Samstabhyatmanam atmana. Jahi shatram mahabaho. Jahi shatram mahabaho. Kama rupam durasadam. Kama rupam durasadam. Evam Buddhe Param Buddva Samstabhyatmanam Atmanaha Jahi Shatram Mahabaho Kama Rupam Durashadam Evam Buddhe Param Buddva Samstabhyatmanam Atmana Jahi Shatram Mahabaho Jahi Shatram Mahabaho Kama Rupam Durasadam Evam Buddhe Param Buddva Samstabhyatmanam Atmanaha Jahi Shatram Mahabaho Kama Rupam Durasadam. Mataji's. One thing you could do actually, those two Mridungas are looking a little bit unsafe on there. If you put a cushion and put them on the floor, then they won't. They'll get knocked and they may break if they're on there. Evam Buddhe Param Buddva Samsabhyatmanam Atmanaha Jai Shatram Mahabaho Kama Rupam Durasadam. Anybody else? Evam, thus, Buddhe, to intelligence, Param, superior, Buddha, knowing, Samstabhya, by steady, Atmanam, the mind, Atmana, by deliberate intelligence, Jahi, conquered, Shastram, the enemy, Mahabaho, Almighty armed one, Kama Rupam, in the form of lust, Durasadam, formidable. Thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, Almighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength conquer the insatiable enemy known as lust. In response, please. Thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, Almighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. This third chapter of Bhagavad Gita is conclusively directed to Krishna consciousness by knowing oneself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without considering impersonal voidness the ultimate end. In the material existence of life, one is certainly influenced by propensities for lust and desire for dominating the resources of material nature. Desire for overlording and for sense gratification is the greatest enemy of the conditioned soul. But by the strength of Krishna consciousness, one can control the material senses, the mind and the intelligence. One may not give up work and prescribed duties all of a sudden, but by gradually developing Krishna consciousness, one can be situated in a transcendental position without being influenced by the material senses and the mind. By steady intelligence directed towards one's pure identity. This is the sum total of this chapter. In the immature stage of material existence, philosophical speculations and artificial attempts to control the senses by the so-called practice of yogic postures can never help a man towards spiritual life. He must be trained in Krishna consciousness by higher intelligence. Thus end the Bhakti purports to the third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of karma yoga, or the discharge of one's prescribed duty in Krishna consciousness. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pastatya Dishatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So these first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita are dealing with what they call karma yoga, how to work in this world. And the second 6 chapters are dealing with bhakti yoga, and the last 6 chapters deal with jnana yoga. For different classes of people, some people are inclined to work in this world, some people are quite inclined to philosophical speculation or philosophical understanding, and some people, very few, are actually already on the platform of bhakti yoga. So, Arjuna in the second chapter, it's mentioned many different things because it's the contents of the whole Bhagavad Gita summarized. And firstly, Lord Krishna explained the nature of the soul, how it's non-material particle. We're not the body. The body is a material, made of material elements, and material elements in this world are subject to the laws of nature. And so by the laws of nature, everything has a kind of birth, an interim period when it's manifested, and then eventually it becomes unmanifested in the form that we once knew it. The elements are not lost. This is what the material science says, and they're not. But the changes that take place, that the body changes. And so this is an extremely difficult situation that we have to face as a living entity, that we think we're going to cease to exist. So this is actually ignorance. And 99% of the population are in that kind of ignorance to some degree or other, thinking that we're nothing but a material product. So Bhagavad Gita immediately starts to explain in the beginning. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that you're thinking about how you're the body, and this is the cause of your, misunderstanding of where to put your shelter, where to put your attachments and affinity, like we all do in this world. We take our shelter from so many things, from family, from spouse, from the government, from this, from that, So we're all looking for that shelter. We're all looking for some protection. And so this is natural for the conditioned soul. This is natural for the conditioned soul. But once we understand our real position as being spiritual, we're not the material body, then it puts a whole different focus on what we should take shelter of. So this is the entirety of Krishna consciousness, actually. Krishna consciousness means to become conscious of Krishna. He's the source of all that is and all that will ever be, and his nature is spiritual. So it's not that the material energy is not part of his creation. It's something, which is a nuisance. It's actually part of his spiritual energy, but it's doing a certain service. And Prabhupada gives the example of electricity, how electricity produces so many things, unnameable. So the material energy of the Lord also has the same potency to create, to make it like the same potency can appear material. It has certain laws, but the same potency can be spiritual. It's actually all spiritual, it's all coming from the Supreme Spiritual Being, but it has different ways of acting according to Krishna's desire. And so the material energy takes on a form by which it goes through all these changes. And when a living entity identifies with that, it becomes extremely fearful. Bhayam means fear. Bhayam dviti, abhinibhasata shat. Functioning on the platform of thinking we're the body. This is when we're actually the spirit soul. It says so that this burst out of the Srimad Bhagavatam says, so the way to cure the problem is first to understand that we're not the body, and then realize that we're not the body. One thing is to understand it, but then to act on that platform is a little more difficult. And so that's a practice of devotional service, to gradually realize that we're not the body. And then in that realization we can perform pure devotional service. We can act on the spiritual platform. So this is not an immediate thing. Oh, I'm not the body. Well, I'll go to our house. No, it's not like that. It's a gradual thing, and it's done in a practical way. And this is the way this is karma yoga is the beginning. And karma yoga, first of all, there's karma, which means work. And there's karma kanda, which is what most people are aspiring for, just try to enjoy this world. But, karma kanda means to follow the direction of particular scriptures. And not many people do that. So we've got a society which is just going nowhere fast. So many things that people are doing, they're just taking people in one direction, then another. There's no uniformity to life. And things are always escalating and making more and more difficulty and anxiety. So the only way to overcome this material energy is not to get entangled in it, but learn how to deal with it in a way that we don't become too entangled. And so we're advised to, follow the Shastra, follow moral principles, different levels. And in this way we don't become too entangled, but we fulfill our desires. Yeah, not too much, like marriage vow. Fulfill the desires, but it's actually got its limits. You have to get married, and it's not just sex is with everybody, it's with one wife, and it's for a purpose, for the procreation of children, so it's limited. In this way we don't become mad after material enjoyment. Then they come to the next stage, which is called karma yoga. And this is understanding that yoga, that we should link with the source of all existence. And Bhagavad Gita says that source of all existence is Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then the same activities we engage, learn the art of engaging all our activities as a service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And gradually, by working on that principle, we develop that consciousness. When you keep doing something, and you keep meditating, and you know, what do they say? You know, customizing it so it becomes more and more focused. Then eventually that becomes us. It's a process. And the process engages the mind in more focus on the actual thing that we're trying to achieve. So it's very simple. It just requires patience and perseverance. Arjuna says this is difficult, and Krishna says yes, it is, but it's possible by practice and detachment. So this third chapter is like that. It's teaching us how to work for the benefit or for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You know, in the beginning of the chapter, Arjuna didn't know what to do. He thought, I don't want to get entangled in this world, so I shouldn't do anything. Well, that's not very practical. We have to breathe. You know, we have to eat. We can limit things, but we can't completely stop. So the process, and the opposite instructions Krishna seemed to give is to work, fight in this battle. But by Buddha Yoga, understand that you're not a material product. Don't get entangled. So fight, I'll get entangled. So then in this chapter it reveals how fighting in real knowledge of our real nature and its relationship with the Supreme Lord, we can avoid becoming entangled in the reaction, because the knowledge is coming from Krishna. You know, when knowledge is coming from the source of creation, he can give guidance how to not become entangled in the creation, even though we're working. Do it for me and I'll take responsibility. Like a father, he gives a young son guidance, do it for me and I take responsibility. Is it? But if the son doesn't, then he takes responsibility. So this is the process. And it's all set around buddhi. Buddhi, what's buddhi? Buddhi is intelligence. But when it's just buddhi, it's material intelligence. Buddhi yogam is spiritual intelligence. People have got so much intelligence. You know, look at these phones. When I was a lad, when I first started talking about computers, I remember it were a computer as big as this house. And you know, there was a film about this computer, and I was controlling things. And now, you know, you can get it in, you can put it in your pocket. You can control so many things, can't you? I don't know what the latest. I bet that, you know, they're even more advanced than what we know. They always, the armed forces get the latest technology, don't they? So I don't know what their kind of phones are like. They're probably like what do they call him? James Kirk, is it? Beam me up, Scotty. You remember that?
There's a way that you don't even need a phone or a computer. You just get this computer chip put in your thumb.
Yeah.
And you're like paying for everything. Just doing that.
You be careful, ain't you?
Yeah.
You know.
They like to tie us up.
Yeah, well, so your DNA now is done.
Okay, let's not get carried away. You know what I mean? We're going to go off at a tangent here. We're going to be talking about all sorts. So, you know, we have to keep control. You know, keep focused. So why do we act like that? Bhagavad Gita, this chapter says it's, you know, therefore, first thing, everything we should do, we should understand that let me not do it for myself. I'll still enjoy the results, but let me do it as a sacrifice. This is what sacrifice means, to actually sacrifice our own desires for a higher purpose. It's to sacrifice in Latin is it means to make sacred, to purify. So that's what we're doing. We're purifying our existence by this simple act. Previously, people would have to do so much. They go through all the different levels, karma yoga, well, karma kanda, karma yoga, sakam karma yoga, niskam karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, and then finally, hopefully, bhakti yoga. But now people can't even perform these yogas. And so in this age we've got a special benediction that if we follow the advice of the person who knows, the spiritual master or the devotee who was in Krishna consciousness, then he can immediately link us to the Supreme Personality of God by his directions, if we follow those directions. It's a very simple process now. So this is what this chapter is speaking about. You know, a devotee may seem like an ordinary person. You know, he drives the same cars as most people. It's not that all of a sudden we start driving different types of cars. We drive exactly, we wear all the time the same clothes, is it? And we go to the same shops. And we work alongside everybody else. But the consciousness is different, that's the point. We're doing things for a different reason. So this is called therapeutic. It's a great art, Prabhupada says, of doing all work. To learn how to do things in the proper consciousness. It's not what we do. You know, we may do so many services in devotional service, and there's some benefit because we're surrendering our corporeal body to serve. But, you know, if it doesn't alter the consciousness, it's limited. It's meant to alter the consciousness of why we're doing things. And that's why people find it difficult. You know, it's like we're so attracted to doing things for ourselves, and we gradually have to start, you know, letting go of this attachment for what we think is Krishna consciousness and following the instruction of the devotee, and understand what is actual Krishna consciousness. And it's a little piece at a time. You know, Maya's very tricky. We get through one particular stage. I think, now I'm okay. And then we realise we're attached in another way. Subtly, we're breaking all these attachments, one by one. And then, anyway, we're going off the point a little bit, but eventually we come to the point where we're free from these material attachments. And it says real devotional service begins. It's not by guidance of somebody else. It's that spontaneity that we have in the heart starts to manifest, just like the spontaneity between a young girl and a young boy. It's not a problem anymore. It's natural. So we all have a particular propensity, and that particular propensity we don't have to change, but we learn how to dovetail it for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this chapter is saying, how is it we started doing all the wrong things anyway? Big question, isn't it? How did we get into this mess? It says it's lust. Lust means desire, material desire. Somehow or other we develop desire to enjoy separately from Krishna, so that is carrying on, and this is a big enemy. This lust is not something which can be alleviated by, you know, what can you say, wearing it out. Is that the word? You wear it out, you just get fed up of doing the same things. Is that right? You do get fed up of doing the same things, but you're still attached to doing them. And so it says this lust is the biggest enemy. And by regulating it, then it can be gradually reduced. And that natural regulation is Krishna engagement in devotional activities. So here, it's given a few verses before this, he was talking about where is lust? You know, where is lust? He said it's in the mind, it's in the intelligence, and it's in the body. So, you know, it's all pervasive. So we have to regulate the senses, but then we have to control the mind. And we have to feed the intelligence with proper knowledge. When we feed the intelligence with proper knowledge, then we can guide the mind. And then when the mind is like the king of the senses, when the mind's being guided properly by a stable intelligence, or a Krishna conscious intelligence, then the senses follow. We start to perform activities which are beneficial. So this is, it sounds very, intricate and complicated. And we need to actually understand this in order to change the consciousness. It helps to understand this to change the consciousness. It's not absolutely necessary. If we're completely convinced that all we have to do is chant Hare Krishna, the Maha Mantra, and we can do that ongoing for the rest of his lifetime, then that would be enough. But as we know, we're not so attached to chanting the Maha Mantra, and sometimes we think, it's just hard work. Where's this taste they keep telling me about? Someone devotee says it's like chewing a brick. I mean, that's when we're really struggling. It's usually a bit better than that, but I think everybody can relate to that. So let's read this verse. It says, Evam Buddhe Param Buddva Samstabhyatman Atmanaha Jai Shatram Mahabaho Kamarupam Dvasadam. So understanding our position, that's the first thing. That's the first part of this first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Understanding our position. That we're not a part of this material world. And then, by studying the intelligence with spiritual knowledge, we can we? Is that possible? By spiritual knowledge, we can engage in devotional service.
Associate with devotees.
Eh?
Associate with devotees.
Yeah. So what does that bring? So yeah, so that's part of the answer. It's, we can have intelligence, we can understand the process, Krishna willing. We're not, if Krishna can benedict us with intelligence to know what we can do, and many devotees have that realization. I know what I should do, but I can't. I know I should chant 16 rounds, but I can't. Every time I pick my bead bag up, something happens. And, every time I try to do something what I should do, it just becomes is it? Sometimes like that. So what's happening? Intelligence is there, but the spiritual strength's not there. So it says we have to be spiritually strong. That's what it says here. It says, by deliberate spiritual intelligence, and thus by spiritual strength. We need spiritual strength to practice devotional service. And that spiritual strength is coming from association of devotees and fixing the mind on Krishna. When we fix the mind on the Supreme Lord, then, we get spiritual strength. And that fixation is coming from hearing the Maha Mantra. Automatically, we can do the right things if we're chanting properly, because Krishna benedicts us with that spiritual ability, with that spiritual strength. So we need 2 things. We need to understand the philosophy nicely, and we need the spiritual strength to put it into practice. What happens if we've got just the spiritual strength? We'll at some point we'll think, what am I doing? We might start getting due to the lack of intelligence. We might misuse that spiritual strength in so many ways. And what happens if we haven't got spiritual strength and we've got intelligence? We've already said that, haven't we? It's like we're just can't do it. And that's what happens. If devotees, if somebody doesn't start chanting, at some point they'll lose it.
Because your intelligence focuses on the wrong thing.
Eh?
The mind could take you away from devotional service, You could focus on the material energy. If you weren't spiritual.
The intelligence, the mind has to be reinforced with, fixed on Krishna. If we're weak spiritually, that means we'll just be pulled about by the material energy. And that's what the question Arjuna asked earlier. How is it? Why is one impelled to sinful activities, even by force? That means by force. It means we don't want to, but we're impelled. That's because we're spiritually weak. We're not situated in our spiritual nature, but we're being controlled by the material nature. So it's like an iron in fire. If we put the iron in a fire, it'll become red hot, white hot. It'll become a different nature. It'll be like fire. And everything you touch. So, when we're spiritually strong, that's the effect we have. We're able to, perform devotional service. The mind becomes surcharged with spiritual power also. So chanting is the most important process. We chant this Maha Mantra with attention every day, 16 rounds if possible. That should be possible actually. Then, our spiritual life won't have too many problems. Yeah?
They're saying in the material world there's a lot of problems, with material energy, sort of trying to stop you doing this service sometimes. Like you can't get the time or
The material energy.
the demons threatening you. Obstacles.
Yeah, well, that won't have the same effect if we're spiritually strong. Is there any examples of that?
That same iron that you've got in the spiritual fire, you have to iron out the creases sometimes.
Some people love his father tried to stop him.
You think, okay, sometimes, you
Is that
face so many challenges, but just stick with the Maha Mantra, because we'll just carry you through all the difficulty. Whatever the difficulty is. You thought that difficulty was the worst.
I thought you were giving good advice last week on Sunday.
No.
To get rid of the TV. I haven't switched it off.
Yeah.
So I've not been watching it.
No.
You said to get rid of it.
Yeah,
It's not mine.
throw it.
Anyway,
And also what I did today was I took a bath.
Yeah.
And that's helped.
wait a minute, we're supposed to be talking to me. Yeah,
It's not right.
well, it's supposed to be, relating to me and bouncing it off me, and then it's like controlled. Otherwise, it becomes, free for all.
You said any examples of, say, where is spiritual strength, where you need it, or
Where you what?
you said any examples? Are there any examples of this where your spiritual strength may either not be strong enough or where you need it?
The only thing is if we haven't got enough spiritual strength.
So what I was going to say was some things that you were saying that connected to me that without, say, the community of devotees who show you the way and chanting and encourage you to do chanting,
No, that's part of it. No, you know.
Without it, then you
Okay, so the first thing is chanting the Maha Mantra,
just so
and the, you know, in the association of devotees, it becomes easier.
what I was going to say.
But you know, the chanting is the main process.
Yeah, okay, I'm not.
So if we chant properly and follow, you know, we're given a guideline by the spiritual master to chant a fixed number of rounds every day and follow certain principles. But if we start chanting with attention, then, you know, we'll have the spiritual strength to follow the principles, and we'll have the spiritual strength to deal with all kinds of situations. Just like Prahlad Maharaj, he was a, you know, Maha Bhagavat. That means he was a very elevated devotee, and his father was the king of the universe. He was a big demon, and he wasn't frightened of him, because, you know, he was completely Krishna conscious. He understood that, you know, whatever happens, it's Krishna. You know, Krishna can protect me, or he doesn't protect me. If he doesn't protect me, there's nothing I can do anyway. He was in that consciousness. He was convinced, and so because he was so convinced, he was protected. So, you know, that's a principle, that when we're in spiritual consciousness, we're able to. First principle is we become fearless. We become fearless. We're not frightened by the same things that we would be otherwise, or to a lesser extent.
Yes, I just was thinking that you'd said, are there any examples? And I've had a very difficult example of a person who lives right near me, causing me a lot of trouble. Very lot of trouble, constantly. And
Anyway, I can't speak
so
about.
Just really, I can just say that it is very helpful to me coming here, and that I can say that the chanting is very helpful for stabilizing your mind, so that you don't, you know, it's the influence of the people around you that you're able to, you've got something that you can withstand that type of influence.
Yeah, well, the association of devotees is also helpful, but, you know, without the chanting, that won't be helpful. Just associating with devotees, unless you actually follow their advice and you chant, then that won't be. So, you know, the whole process is to become convinced about this chanting. And and then you'll see a quantum difference in consciousness. It doesn't have to be explained. We just understand that this actually works. It works. Okay, so it's 20 past. Anybody else got any questions or comments? Okay, Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much, Maharaj, for a wonderful lecture and explaining us on the importance of chanting. Chanting the holy names is the base principle of Vaishnava culture. Yeah. So without chanting, you know, we cannot progress in our spiritual life. This is a very, very important point we need to understand. Yeah. So the mind, body, and soul, you know, will get purified when we focus on attentive chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It is very easy to chant, very simple. Okay, there is no tough Sanskrit words in Mahamantra. Yeah, but it's a direct connection to Supreme Personality of Godhead under the guidance of spiritual master and devotees. Okay, so this is very, very important. And tomorrow is the first Saturday of month. So every month, first Saturday, we gather for Mangalarti in the temple. So Mangalarti is morning at 5 o'clock. Okay. And also we started discussing 12 Mahajans, 12 great devotees of the Lord. Every month, first Saturday, there will be a 1.5 hour lecture on great Mahajans. And tomorrow we are discussing about Lord Shiva. Okay. So please don't miss. So Mangala Arati at 5 o'clock, followed by Tulasi Puja, and we chant till 6:30, and then DT greetings, Guru Puja, Bhagavatam class, and breakfast prasad. Okay, so don't miss. It's every first Saturday morning, and tomorrow we have the program. And Monday evening, you all know, Monday we have a Gaurapurnima festival, which is a major festival, and appearance of Lord Gauranga. Okay, the first major festival of the year. Okay, so we have morning program as usual, starts from 5 o'clock. Okay, until it will be 8:39. Schedule is same. Okay, and the program in the evening starts at Jain Samaj. Okay, address, if I think everyone knows Jain temple where Jain Samaj is, right? Yeah, in long side. Okay, so the program starts from 6 o'clock. Okay, so there will be a kirtan. His Holiness Dayananda Maharaj is giving a lecture, and we have a small drama, and we have palanquin procession and abhishekam, and finally prasad. Okay, so don't miss. We need some volunteers also to help for this festival. Yeah, so that's on Monday evening. Okay, don't get scared of coronavirus and all those things. Yeah, as long as you are safe. We have 2 hand sanitizers at the entrance. Okay, just at your home, wherever you have a small one, and just to keep on washing our hands, and make sure you follow whatever are suggested. So today we posted in our congregation groups also what precautions we need to take. Okay, so as long as we are following the precautions, nothing to worry. Okay, so just to come to temple happily. Okay, just enjoy the program, take prasadam and go. It purifies everything. Okay, and at any point of time, if you feel you have those symptoms, stay at home and watch the program online. Okay, and of course contact your GP so you know what to do. Understand? So or if you are in the temple premises, and if you are struggling with cough, cold, whatever symptoms you find, quietly leave the premises. It helps you and it helps the congregation. Okay, just to follow these basic precautionary measures, nothing to worry. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much. Madhav Kumar Prabhu, Prasadam prayers. Ekadasi, yeah, not complete. Yeah. Mahaprasade Govinde